Recording.
Now it's recording.
Good. Okay.
We have a special guest.
Introduce yourself, special guest.
Hi, I'm Megan Campbell.
Yay!
Okay.
Megan teaches at our studio, and she's been teaching for like a really, really, really long time.
100 years.
And Allie and I, like 100 basically. Allie and I have like a particular take, and it's a very similar take on yoga.
Yes.
You know, the way we teach, sort of like our connection to the practice is very, very similar. And we thought, why don't we bring in someone who has a different take on yoga? Isn't that a really good idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good idea too.
Yeah.
Really good idea. And so, Megan, I would say that you are a more spiritually focused teacher, energetically focused teacher,
Yeah.
rather than the asana, which is the physical practices, which is what Allie and I tend to focus on a lot in our classes, well, in our own practice.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything else is just sort of a benefit.
Yeah.
But, spirituality can be sort of intimidating, right?
Yeah.
It can.
Yeah.
And so that's why I wanted to bring Megan on, because we love Megan, and she's really normal.
She is. She likes normal things like that we do. Like
Yeah, we were just talking about hairspray. We were just talking about nails.
Yeah. I asked if people who if she gets a certain kind of hairspray for spirituality.
Yeah, spiritual hairspray.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we just thought we would do some spirituality for dummies. And Allie and I are the dummies. Because we really are.
Oh, 100%.
150%.
I've often thought if I ever started speaking like that in my class.
Speak spiritual?
Yeah, people speak spiritual. That people would be like, fraud. Well, it would be. So,
Yeah.
Here we go.
So, Megan, I've got a couple questions for you.
Okay.
What do you think that the biggest misconceptions regarding the spirituality in yoga are?
I wish we had that Ellen buzzer.
Oh, like,
Yes.
yeah.
Ding. Okay, so I think probably the most common misconception is that spirituality is religion.
Yeah.
Which
Totally.
it's not.
Totally.
So spirituality is really, really broad. It's a broad concept, and the beautiful part about it, I think anyway, is that there's room for interpretation. Oh, wow. And so...
Megan, I have a crush on you.
When you think about it, there's intersection, right, of religion and spirituality, of course, because you can take it in any direction that you want. So it can be an enhancement of a religious practice that you're already involved in. It could have nothing to do with religion and be yoga, mindfulness, and meditation, which is what we practice.
Love it.
It's so true. It's so true.
So people get a lot, I find anyway, people get a little ooh, about it because they feel it's the same thing and it's not. And I also think that, spirituality is something that's very personal. So I had a teacher in my philosophy class, and he said, and I really love this, and he was like, there's a big difference. So religion is someone's telling you what to do and how to get there, and spirituality is you're figuring it out for yourself. So I love that because that's one of the reasons I love yoga.
Yeah, you're in the driver's seat.
You're in the driver's seat, and you get to figure out what spiritual means for you, or what that connection is for you.
Right.
So when we're talking about spirituality in regards to yoga class, what specifically are we talking about?
Well, I think, what's really crucial to remember, and this isn't a place of at all of judgment or criticism. It's just an observation. Is when I first started teaching, we all owned. There was a lot of yoga philosophy in our classes. The classes were an hour and a half. This is I'm dating myself.
No, I remember too.
I did too.
It's not that long ago.
Yeah, and then so we've kind of by shortening classes and things and because we're calling it for dummies, spirituality for dummies, we kind of dumbed down yoga a bit too. And so we've taken things out because we don't have as much time, and then it becomes very asana focused. But forgetting, I think, personally, in my opinion, that, the Latin, the root of breath, and what we're teaching people to breathe and be conscious is spirit, or anima, which is the soul. And so whether we realize it or not, we are spiritual teachers.
I actually just realized I am, without even just there you go. I am.
Yeah, because you're just by instructing people to breathe and feel their breath, breathe their breath, acknowledge their breath, be present to their breath, however you say it, you're asking them to be, connected to spirit.
It's so true. It's so true. I often think that people get into yoga for lots and lots of different reasons, and we see at the studio people kind of come for the month intro, and then they're like, we don't see them again, ever. We're like, nice to meet you, nice to see you. They're never going to come back. The people that stick around, the people that come and make practice part of their lives, it has connected with them on a spiritual level, even if they're acknowledging it or not.
100%.
Yeah.
It is, and personally as well. And when I leave a yoga class, I do feel different, and not just physically. You do. You feel emotionally different, but you have made time to connect to your breath.
Yeah. So you have probably connected to. So when we talk about the 8 limbs of yoga, go 8 limbs of yoga. Go. I'm going to count them on my hand. Go.
Oh my God, scary.
Well, here's what I want to say about the 8 limbs.
Yeah. She just crushed you.
Before I go there,
don't you?
You
did it.
That pranayama and the breath actually comes after asana, right? Which a lot of people forget. And I say this because, again, it's just showing the power of breath and its ability for us to use it to make connections that are greater than the body. And we also we're a society, we're a culture that's very physically oriented. We love working out. We love being active. And if not, we want to be whatever. But we're very body focused, body conscious, really. And then, now we have this great opportunity in the world that they're bringing in emotion and mind. And we're realizing finally, we're listening that it's all connected, but we have this disconnect of spirit or soul or something. And really that's what spirituality is. It's just a connection to something greater than yourself and outside of yourself. And Sean Korn said once, when I was a very new teacher, I loved it and it stuck with me forever. And she said, if we stay in the physical and only in the asana, we risk having a very narcissistic practice.
Absolutely.
Right,
100%.
because it's just body conscious. It's just constantly I want to be better at this, I want to do better and stuff. So the breath is kind of that woven aspect of how we can peak into the possibility of spirit and living a more spiritual life.
Yeah. You see people that come in the beginning, or I've watched students practice, my own to evolve from being very physically oriented. All I wanted to learn how to do was do arm balances and this and get upside down. And now it really is tuning into what I actually need that day. What do I need? How's my body? How's my emotional state? But you watch that happen to students too. When they come in now, they listen to their bodies. And that's a beautiful moment because they're really being present to what they need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So putting in perspective too of the discussion about my philosophy, I'm going to share something. My philosophy around teaching is always get them to trust you with their body and then they'll trust you with their soul. And so my classes aren't you're going to come in and all of a sudden it's, I'm going to talk to you about yoga philosophy and tell you to connect to your spirit and your heart or whatever. But more here's a lot of asana, and then let's sit at the end for a minute and connect to something greater than.
Sprinkle it in.
Yeah, I think it's important because, again, just my humble opinion is that it really is where I feel where we're experiencing a lot more depression and anxiety in the world is that we've become disconnected from the meaning. Spirituality is answering it's helping you answer the question, who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing in this life? Purpose, the big questions. It doesn't have really much to do with God or anything. It can be love, higher consciousness if you're coming to yoga, right? Just accessing these states that are beyond our, our imbalance.
Totally.
And there's nothing wrong with our imbalance.
There's
No,
nothing
love it.
wrong
Love
because those can be really fun too in circle
Yeah,
purpose.
and really-
and
and
it's
really
exciting to get
energizing
stronger,
and-
give you more, all of that.
Yes.
But they're
Yeah, but it's not what
The
it's
be-all
not
and
what
all.
keeps you coming back, I think.
No, because you would just go to the gym,
Yeah.
right? You would just go, which I love that too. But
And you do too.
and you do too.
You do too.
Spins her little face off.
I'm a big spinner.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's like you can have, this is a thing, right? Is that I think that's important is beyond the conversation of yoga is you can have a spiritual experience anywhere doing anything. That's the point of it. I've had multiple moments where I've had the same embodied experience spinning of like wanting to cry, feeling elated, really super endorphin high that I've had doing yoga. And also, to break it all down, it's just really like the simplicity of finding a space where you feel safe to peek into what exists beyond you, right? And for a lot of people, that just starts by listening to your heart or breathing into your heart, understanding your mind. Feeling for so many people, we know trauma is a huge thing. It's like a really great conversation in our world. Just feeling your body again can be a really spiritual experience. So it's not to discount that asana or anything. It's just, for me, it's always been, there's no disconnect between the two. It had to be the same thing.
Oh, I think that's a fantastic way to end. Unless you want to answer the 8 limbs of yoga.
Oh my God.
I don't know if we can all get them between us all. Asana?
That's not the first one.
No, I'm not going in order.
Pratyahara.
It's
Pratyahara.
Yama,
Dhyana.
Yama, niyamas, asana, pranayama, dhyana, samadhi. Is that it?
Oh, yes, somebody get it. That's the end. Good job.
Is that it?
You went in order.
Yeah.
Oh, she's good.
That's how
people.
good she
She's
is.
good.
Okay.
Okay, yay.